Well, welcome everybody to the Model T Ford Club of America Museum, and we're glad to have you. We're kind of excited about our new library that we're going to dedicate today, and I want to open up by thanking a few people that have made this possible. This has been a dream of a lot of the people that started this museum in this location from the start, was to be able to have a nice library here as well. And it's kind of come to fruition here in the last year. We've worked pretty hard on it. I will say that we were approached by Mr. Ron Patterson. He had a significant amount of material that he wanted to donate. A lot of it's from Bruce's personal collection, and Ron had one stipulation that we did this. Ron, you're being pretty timid back there.
Sorry, but I gotta sit down.
And I understand that totally. That make this open to the public, and we're going to make this something that grows. It's something that we expect more donations to come in because of this, and something that, instead of just keeping books in your library, your personal library, especially some of this stuff that is one-of stuff, stuff we can put out here that future generations can enjoy forever. Not just today, but for tomorrow and for future generations. It's just thinking into the future, and that's what this is all about today. A couple of people I really want to say thank you to is Bill and Lee Baker. They donated the file cabinet, the barristers, the library cabinet, and the small display cabinet also. Are they here, Bill and Lee?
Yes.
Yeah, there they are. Of course, Ron Patterson for his contribution. I'd like to thank him.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Barbara McCalley, who's not here tonight, but she donated some proofs, some galley proofs of some of Bruce's work from here to obscurity, and that's going to be on display in the library permanently. And I've got her son David here, and I've asked David to come up and talk a little bit about Bruce and talk a little bit about what we've got in the library here.
Well, thank you all. My dad, he loved the cars and the clubs, but what he really loved was the people. And I see it here today. This is a great crowd. And thank you for honoring my dad. And it's just on and on the great memories I've had of my whole life. Growing up as a kid in the Southern California Club and then the Club of America. And it was a great childhood. They mostly families at that time, the cars and the kids, all my age, and the tours, and it was such a beautiful look at humanity. And I see it here again. And, it's wonderful. Since I've been here, everybody's been so nice, showing me around, and yeah, it's good to be alive. It's a wonderful thing. Very special people to enjoy this hobby, and I'm very proud of you all, and I'm proud of the old man too. He was an emotional guy. He'd probably have a tear in his eye right now. He had a kind of an ironic sense of humor. You know, we often wondered if that was really funny. But you laugh anyway. But he really loved the people, so did I. And I thank you all.
I've met Bruce on a few occasions, talked with him down in Chickasha a couple of different times, and one thing that I've always taken away from the conversations that I had with Bruce was that he was a very humble man, and he was always very gracious in passing on his knowledge to whoever wanted to know. If you had a question for him, he'd give you the answer. And sometimes he'd tell you it wasn't the right answer, but it was an answer. But that was kind of his sense of humor in things.
Yeah.
And I think you'll agree with that.
Oh,
That's,
yeah.
that's the way he did things. But he was very humble, and I always took that away from my conversations that I had with Bruce personally. We want to go ahead and do the ribbon cutting now. And Ron's right there, and David, I want you to.
Okay. Got it?
Ready, Ron? Let's pick a. Watch your fingers. Get
That's great.
While you're in the museum, you probably, if it's been a while since you've been here, there's probably some things that are different that you haven't seen before.
Let me get out of the way.
Our museum, it continues to grow. The library is a good example of the growth. But one of the things that you'll notice is that this year, in 2018, or since March, actually, we've added 12 Model Ts to the exhibit. 1909 Touring in this building, number 394. It's a two-pedal, two-lever Model T. That's the 2015 Stanosky Award winner.
You're like me.
It belongs to Rod and Heather Barrett of Anderson, Indiana. They're members of the Indy 500 chapter, and it's on loan here indefinitely. They bought the car specifically to display here at the museum, so very unique. And he's here tonight, so please give him a round of applause. Where you at, Rod? Clear in the back, okay. And then we've got another 1909 three-pedal, one-lever car, a little later model, I think a 6,000 serial number car, something like that. From Doug Braun from Billings, Montana. Doug's also here tonight, his wife. It's on loan, and it's kind of nice to have the two Model Ts side by side, one of the first 2500 and then one of the later models that shows the differences in them. Really kind of a unique opportunity. As I was telling Rod earlier tonight, I've been around Model Ts all of my life. My dad was a collector, and I grew up with them. This is only the second two-lever, two-pedal Model T I've ever been around, so they're just not that common. You just don't see them around. The next car we have inside the museum here is a 1912 Touring, the black and blue 12 Touring that's back here, a beautiful car. That's Scott Rosenthal and his wife Sheila from Cincinnati. Are they here tonight? Yes. Scott, Sheila? Yeah. It's on loan for 2 years. So if you have any questions, they'd be glad to answer any questions about their car. Another one from kind of a local donor here is the Model R Roadster that sits out front, and a 1914 touring car that's back there. Those belong to Jerry and Kim Kramer. Jerry's one of our directors. Everybody knows Jerry that's from the local area. He's always here. Great volunteer. Does a lot of work, and as I said, a director, and he's running for re-election this year. So be sure to mark your ballot with Jerry's name on it. We'll keep him around. And what's back that's so unique is the silver streak. Very neat to have it back here. John and Carmen Booty. A lot of people mispronounce that name, but John was very specific in teaching me how to say it correctly. So we're glad to have the silver streak back. That's such a fantastic story of a bunch of college girls that traveled the United States in that car. Back when girls didn't do that kind of thing, essentially. And just a unique story. He's got a book out about it, so if you haven't read his book, it's a great read. I know we read it and we passed it on to our kids and they've read it and they just really enjoyed that book. So it's a great read, and if you get a chance to do that, I highly recommend that. And then over in the annex across the street, how many of you got over there tonight and saw what's been done in the annex? Isn't that amazing? It's just really, in the last year, taken shape. We've moved. Susan's office used to be right here where the library's at. Now she's across the street. We kicked her out of here. But we gave her a window over there so, so she can see what's going on. And over in the annex, we've got a 1919 depot hack. And that was donated, and we just received it a week ago from Dr. Leonard Tork from Medina, Ohio. And we plan to use this to give rides around the museum. So it's sitting out there right now. I know I worked on the ignition system on it yesterday, got the coils rebuilt in it, and it really runs nice. It's a nice car. So thanks to them. Also a 1921 depot hack just received on Friday, yesterday. Came from James Edwards, Bridgewater, New Jersey. So that's a great, another great, and it may be also used for rides around the Richmond area. So the 1922 Roadster pickup from John Beecher from Slidell, Louisiana, and that was a donation. So that's a permanent part. What's the name of that car, Susan? Tootsie. Tootsie. Little red Roadster pickup across the street. You might have saw it in the vintage garage. And then something else that we just got on loan is the 1925 TT truck popcorn wagon. And that was kind of a challenge to get in there. I see they had to take wheels off of it so they could get it in the door. It's a pretty tall machine. That came from Carolyn Carpenter of Seaman, Ohio, and that's the biggest Model T in the collection. And also 1923 Montgomery Ward Fordson tractor conversion, or what's this, a Ford tractor conversion, Model T with the Montgomery Ward kit that was sold out of the Montgomery Ward's catalog. And that's been donated, just unloaded yesterday. As a matter of fact, a bunch of us helped unload that, and that's over in the annex as well. So that's the 12 new Model T since March. That's fantastic. All right, probably the most important part of this is none of this happens without volunteers. And I'm so impressed with the volunteers that we get from this local area, and we owe them so much in what they do to make all this possible. The first ones I want to thank are Jerry Kramer and Tony Wiltshire. There's Tony. These two guys are the ramrods of all of this. These two guys manage everything that happens in the museum and in the annex building across the street. They supervised everything that's happened with the reconstruction of the library room, with rebuilding Susan's office, and that's all happened in this past year with volunteer effort. And it's magnificent work. I mean, it's just as nice as any professionals would have done. So these two guys we owe a big thank you to. I want Kim Kramer to come up.
Speak.
There she is. Stand up, Kim. Kim's the one that's organized all the library, the entire library, put the books on all the shelves and got them all in order and take care of that. But she does so much more than that as well. She's here with her husband day in and day out and making sure the operations of this museum run so smooth. And so we owe her a great debt too.
I've got to hog the speaker just a minute. The people that are coming up here are the people that have helped us. I'm sorry. The people that I've asked to come up here are the people that have volunteered to help build that and all this over here. Everything from tearing out carpet, the nastiest jobs you've ever seen in the world. If you helped on that building over there, anything we've done in the last year or anything we've done in here last year, please come up here. Dan Condor cut the wood for all that up here. Come on up here. I want everybody to see the people that have been volunteering to do all of this up here.
I'm going to name a few more. We've already named Tony and Jerry, but there's Jim Roop. Was he here? Jim's not here tonight. Dick Carroll. There's Dick. He's right here. Scott Norris. Scott.
He's up here.
Greg Holm. Ron Bolser. Brian Andrews. These guys are here regularly, all the time. And just do so much. We really appreciate it. These guys are all in the Indy 500 guys, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then Henry's Hoosiers. So many of those are here all the time because they're the local guys. They're here day in and day out. Of course, Jerry and Kim Kramer, Brent and Cindy Hayworth, right there. Yeah. Jamie Maxwell. Jamie. Yeah. Bill Groddick. Yep, there he is. Dave Johnson. Here. Dave's here. Dick Miller. Dick's in the back. Yeah. Vern Snyder. Yeah. Dana Weigel. Benny and Patty Young. I know they're here. There they are back somewhere. Gary and Ina Hauser. Haven't seen them.
Got Ron Hughes.
Ron. And any others?
He's my drywall man right there.
All right, the drywall guy.
Did we get it? Huh?
Did I miss anybody? I didn't mean to if I did. Southwest Ohio chapter, Frank and Paula Gofrich. Are they here?
Yeah. Paula's hiding over there.
And then, of course, we've got Frank and his wife, Marion. They're not here. Okay, Frank and Bill Waymeyer. They painted all the ceilings up. I can't imagine painting all those ceilings. Unbelievable work.
I left town when they did that.
Good. I can't imagine standing on a ladder painting those ceilings like that.
Well, the worst part was not standing on the ceilings painted. The worst part was the week before that. We spackled and fixed all the seams and everything. That wasn't that bad, but it was the weekend between those two when they came over and had to sand all that, and I've got a picture of him. He looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy. It's just everywhere.
Oh my goodness. All right, and they worked in the annex till midnight, time and time again, getting all that stuff done. Also, Dan Condor, all the lumber that was used in that vintage garage, he milled. That's all ash that came from your farm and from Jerry's farm.
And my farms.
Yeah.
Tony's.
Tony's and Brandt's. Just tons of work, a lot of trees that were being killed by the ash borers, and they brought them down, they felled the trees, and then turned them into usable lumber, and it's beautiful lumber. Really great job, I appreciate all of that. And then also Byron and Tony Gebhardt, also been a big help.
Byron Hall.
Byron Hall. Who did I forget?
I think you got all of our guys.
Okay. But like I said before, it doesn't happen without volunteers. And this is something that we as a board look at all the time, is what are our volunteers doing? What can we do to attract more volunteers? These guys are in the core of our headquarters, essentially, where everything happens right here. So they get relied on pretty heavily, sometimes probably too heavily. And I like to see some of our chapters that are further out reach out and set up a volunteer time and work, be able to come down and do some things and some of that kind of thing. I think it'd be a lot of fun for them. I know that the directors, we've been here for a couple of days now. We came in and Jerry and Tony prepared for us to be here and got us a lot of supplies and a lot of those things in place for us before we arrived. And we've had a great time this weekend working together in the museum, in the annex, cleaning and replacing ballast and lights, and working on cars, getting some of the cars repaired and running, and doing those kinds of things. And our wives were here with that, with us doing a lot of administrative things and just a lot of things that are repetitious and nobody wants to do, but they did them. And I know my wife said she can count to 20 pretty good now. And 6. I don't know, what was it? Number 6. There was something about you could count to 6 as well. So I'd like to mention also, we've got the president of the Model T Ford Club International here, Gordon Cole, from Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're pleased to have you guys here tonight in this spot. And Gordon came to our board meeting today and had some stuff he presented to us. We just really appreciated having him here today. So thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
And after you're done, I got one more after that.
There's one more kind of special guy to me. We get these cars loaned to us and donated to us. There's only one problem, is a lot of times you've got to find a way to get them here. Now, every now and then, an owner will want to bring it, and that's great. I know Scott Rosenthal and some of the others have brought their own. Sometimes Susan sends me or Jamie or somebody, and we'll drive someplace and bring them back. But the majority of the stuff that's been new here has been hauled in by this crazy guy behind me in this tie-dyed shirt. He goes by an alias. I don't think he wants anybody to know what his real name is. And he won't, if you try to get a conversation with him, just forget it, because he won't talk to you. I got your back, Jim. It's Freighter Jim. If those of you on the forum, his name's Freighter Jim. I want to thank him. I think we forgot to introduce probably the most important people at the museum.
Yeah.
Our driving force. I'm gonna tear up this lady is the glue that keeps us together. She's what has made this place happen the last couple of years. And I can't give her enough thanks. Her sidekick over here is the one that keeps us our heads above water, Diana Pappin. And then hiding behind me someplace are the 2 horses. There's Brenda right here behind me. That's Vernon's wife. And if you've never had a tour in the Model T Museum with Justin, you haven't lived.
All right, so everybody enjoy the museum. Take a look at the library, and I think we'll meet over at the restaurant at about 6:30 or so. 6 to 6:30. Yeah.
They haven't been across the annex yet.
Yeah, if you haven't been across the street to see the annex, it's still open, so please take some time and go over there and see the vintage garage, and the cars are on display over there. We'd love to have you check all of it out before you leave. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.